Good morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Dublin, and today we want to continue speaking about this very important quality of confidence. Where does it come from? Do you have enough? Can I tell you, at a very fundamental level, having confidence does not depend on how much money you have, how many accomplishments you have under your belt. It doesn't even depend on what I was speaking about yesterday, which is about your competence in a certain industry or category. You know what? At a certain level, your confidence absolutely depends on you understanding and accepting that I am a human being. I have the right to exist. I've got the right to win. I've got the right to fail. I've got the right to express myself. I've got the right to speak up. I've got the right to remain quiet. I've got the right to be myself. I've got the right to privilege who I am over everybody else. Yes, that is where I think ultimately confidence comes from. So let's talk about that today because not everybody has qualifications. Not everybody is competent in every area of life. Not everybody has had all of the advantages in life. Does that mean that you do not have confidence? Absolutely not. So, wherever you're joining me from, welcome on Instagram. Hey, Sienna, I see you this morning. YouTube, thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel or wherever you're watching me from. LinkedIn, welcome to the show on Basement Chronicles Live this morning. And of course, the Watch Radio family on Facebook, welcome. So, we began speaking yesterday about this concept of confidence, and I think the overriding concept from yesterday, you can go watch it on YouTube if you subscribe to my channel. There's the thing going on there. Just go search for Basement Chronicles there and you can subscribe. We were saying that one source of confidence is competence, that when you develop competence in a certain area, you can afford to confidently come to people and be like, hey, I can help you. So, for example, I've always been confident where speaking is concerned, not just as a speaker, but helping people to become great speakers. And now building my confidence as a life coach, that too is kicking in, as in I can help you. So sometimes I see people showing up on social media. I don't even know them. And I'm like, two things I think. If I see somebody showing up so systematically positive and regular and consistent, I'll be like, who is that person's coach? And if I see somebody who has great potential but seems to be melting down and not doing things quite right, because I'm confident as a coach in my abilities, I'm like, I can help this person. Oh my goodness. What can I, like, who are you? How can I help? Because I've developed competence in that field. What about you? Wherever you are competent, you can afford to be confident. But today I'm taking the conversation in a different direction. Like I usually do, I love to start with the foundational things. You know, a long time ago, 2020, when I started Basement Chronicles, the vlog, and I used to be like, hey, do you have 3 minutes to speak about things that have to do with the foundational? I'm still about the foundational. I'm still about, let us start from what is basic, what is essential, what is the truest truth, and then we can build upon it. And so that's where I want to go this morning. What if you have failed at things before? And yesterday I left off by saying we would begin by looking at relationships. Perhaps you failed in business as well. What if that is the reality? Does that mean that you should not have confidence in your abilities going forward? Absolutely not. I want to submit to you this morning, just as I began in the intro, that the first level of confidence has to be in the fact that you were created by God, that you are a human being. Think about it. A lot of us discount that like that's nothing, but dogs are not human beings, okay? Right? Like I always tell my kids, I have 3 sons, and we have a dog. And I always say to them, don't let anybody ever call you a dog. Do you know what it is to be, or call yourself a dog, or, call a female a bitch? No, don't do that. Do you guys see what dogs do? You tell a dog what to do and it does it. Like it's just beholden to you. It has no kind of understanding of its own self. Hey, Sani, we missed you on Sunday, Sani. I'm just putting that out there. I have to text you after, see how you're doing, right? But we missed you on Sunday. We just obviously love you in the speaking school, and you were not there, and we're like, oh, where's Sani? Anyway, I was talking about dogs. You tell a dog what to do and it just does it. A dog doesn't seem to have any sort of understanding of itself. It doesn't love itself. It loves you. It exists to love you. Why would you want to call yourself a dog or to call oh my God. No, I always say to my boys, like, don't ever refer to yourself as a dog, because look at what dogs do. We have it in living color in our home. We have a Roddy set. You must have seen him on set sometimes. And he's a lot of fun. We loved our dog, and he's brought a lot of joy, but ultimately he's not a human being. Your confidence has to start from the fact that you are a human being. You've got the right to exist. You've got the right to try. You've got the right to win, to make mistakes, to speak up, to be silent if you want to show up as yourself. Let me tell you another right, and I think also a responsibility that we have. A responsibility to love yourself, and a right to be your own standard. And that's where I want to go to this morning, where confidence is concerned. Because if I make myself the standard, I am giving myself the opportunity, the leeway, the space to create, to grow, to win, to fail, all of these things. And that is a source of confidence. So let's begin. A couple years ago, I started saying, just being in this life coaching space and being that person who's always thinking about life and wanting to bring it out in the writing, the coaching, the everything. Okay. I began to say, you know what? To not choose yourself as the standard is to be a living suicide. If in your head, the standard is another person, another race, another being, another form of existence, you are a living suicide. Think about it. All of us, to a certain extent, we do things to doll up ourselves and to look the best we can. But some people take it a step further and erase who they are, because that, I don't like it. I don't want to treat it. I don't want to deal with it. I want to be somebody else, because that in my head is the standard. There can never be that true sense of confidence if you don't start from an acceptance of who you are. I take it a step further. I am the standard. For myself, no, every single person has to be that way. And, being in a space where I'm an immigrant, I'm Black, I'm female, all of the things. And I come here and you recognize there seems to be worldwide, a fight against who you are. You don't see yourself on billboards. You see other people, and you see your own people wanting to look like the other. And then you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, I choose me. I am the standard. There's a deep sense of confidence in that when you show up, you don't show up trying to love yourself. You show up from a deep appreciation and liking of, this is me. All right. This is the standard of beauty, the standard of ability. This, I have to accept myself. If you start from there and you do that work every single day to look in the mirror and say, hey, I love you. You're the standard. It doesn't mean that you don't work on yourself. It doesn't mean that you put your head in the sand and be like, I'm fine the way that I am. I don't need to change. I don't need to get better. No, that's not what I'm saying this morning. I'm saying, for me, I began to say a couple years ago, it's not just that I love to be Black. Are you ready for it? I prefer to be Black. That prefer is not a slight at other races, at other people. It is a celebration, a wholesome celebration of who I am. And when I say this, when I go give talks at ERGs and I go to schools that are multicultural and multiracial, and I'm saying this in the midst of everybody, white teachers, Filipino teachers, Black teachers, I prefer to be Black. I follow it up with, whatever your race is, I hope you prefer to be that. because to be anything else is to be a living suicide. How are you going to make it? How are you going to absolutely accept yourself and show up as yourself and be in love with who God made you to be? The face, the hair, the lips, the body. This is you. It has to be your standard. That is survival. And when you come to that realization, you move from survival to now thriving on top of who I am, not in spite of it. Does that make sense, anybody? I hope I'm making sense here this morning, because that is where confidence comes from. I just simply accept myself. You know that phrase, that quote that I always mention. I always bring it up because it has resonated so deeply with me, from somebody who coaches me from afar. He doesn't even know I exist. But I heard him say once on a podcast, that is Carlos Quinney, and he's part of the S2S podcast family. He's actually the person who is the mastermind behind Eric Thomas, the mastermind behind the 9 to 5 Millionaire, the mastermind behind Toby and Gwigwe right now. And he said, when you see somebody who has the it factor, it's usually because they are fully comfortable with who they are, or something to that effect. When you see somebody who has the it factor, it's usually because they are fully comfortable with who they are. Not that I don't want to change, not that I'll not take a haircut, not that I won't enhance what I already have, but I'm not working against myself to be different. I'm enhancing what I have because I already appreciate it. Does that make sense? And because I'm comfortable with who I am, I can step out and do new things. I understand just as I am, that elemental, essential part of me, how God created me, it is enough. Say that to yourself. I am enough. I am enough. What does that do for you when you say something like that and believe it? I am enough. I don't need to be anybody else to be successful. I don't need to look like anybody else for me to take a world stage or to stand up and speak. I've got the right, just as I am, to have an opinion, to be treated with respect, and to give respect. I have a right, just as I am, to have a voice. I have a right to disagree with people. Yes, I do, just as I am. And I think that sense of staying in that space of treating yourself, of negotiating with who you are and figuring it out and accepting it bit by bit, that builds an unshakable confidence, so that it doesn't even matter who else is in the room. They might have more degrees, more money. They might have perhaps a name that's better known, but you're coming from that quiet fire of acceptance that many times those people who have built their confidence on things, extrinsic things, things outside of themselves, their names, their degrees, the money, the position. When you come with the quiet fire from, I am coming from, I accept myself from within, and I'm going to build on that, you are way more powerful and way more confident than anybody in the room. That's where true confidence comes from. You know, yes, I'm in the professional space, but I'm a human being. I was made by a being, a supreme being. Let's go there for an instance. Those of us who are believers, you have extra information and you should have extra confidence because you're starting from God made me. And if the maker of the universe made me, I'm going to take it. Makes logical, professional sense to believe what he said about you. And so, what does God say about you? And are you believing it? That when he says you are blessed and highly favored, above only and not beneath, the head and not the tail. When he says no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You know, I'm just going through like what I say on a daily basis. Can you see that? Right? Veering off topic for a little bit. All of these things, you have nothing missing, nothing broken. So how dare you show up thinking that you are less, thinking that for some reason You were made with a check, as we say in my society. You were made with some kind of broken something. Who told you that? Who told you that? And why are we believing other human beings like ourselves who were created just like us? Why don't we just go to the creator? Does it not make more sense? Is that not a superior thought, a logical thought, to believe what your creator said about you as opposed to what other created beings said about you? Like, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. That's what we do in the logical world. For example, in any professional setting, the first thing that they're going to say to you, if you want something to work, go to the manual. I lived all my professional administrative life. When I was deeply in procedures and so on, I would always remember my supervisor saying to me, what do the procedures say? We're trying to figure out a problem, right? What do the procedures say? Because there was something that governed how you were supposed to do a certain action, how to handle a certain situation. But we come to our humanity and our identity, and we forget that the same rules apply. Might there be a manual that governs you? Might there be somebody who made you who has um, conditions and procedures of how you as a human being are supposed to operate? Why are you believing another manual over the one that absolutely and directly applies to you? So God says that you are all of that. God says all of these things about you. I choose to believe it. And I think too, another thing, that another professional practice that can even be applied in your personal life is this. You want to test things. You want to measure and evaluate, don't you? You want to see whether, if I apply a certain standard and a certain procedure, does it work for me or not? What happens when you take the time to build up your confidence, not from the outside things, the exterior things, the things that are outside of you, but what happens when you start to build up your confidence from who I am and who God made me to be? Do you show up as more confident? Can you do more? Can you be more? Do you accomplish more? Some people would be like, well, when I look at people who kind of believe in God, I really don't see it, right? Yeah, you believe in God and that's it. All you seem to have is a promise of life in the afterlife. Like, what about now? What are you doing? That's because the same way, like they say, don't judge Islam by what we see our Muslim brothers and sisters doing sometimes, the wars, the terror sometimes. Go to the source, what is in the book. And, I've had occasion to um, just delve a little bit into Islam and to recognize, just like in Christianity, there's a big difference between what's in the book and what the practitioners of the faith do. It's the same thing where Christianity is concerned. That if you want to base your life on what you see so-called people of faith doing, you might come up short. So you go find out for yourself what your creator says, and that should be your source of confidence. It works because it goes to the very essence of you, who you are, and it makes sure that it's not dependent on anything outside of you, but on who created you. So that's the first big point today, that if you are the person who has failed at certain things, you failed at marriage, at relationships, you failed at business. Maybe I was speaking to somebody the other day who just couldn't pass. She was doing an exam for to kind of get her papers in Canada. And this is somebody who I know very well. We went to school together at some point, and I know her to be bright and able. And she just could not pass the English test. And I was like, no, I'm sure if you just keep on trying, get some help, you can do it. But when you have disappointments, when you've got failures, when you've tried and you cannot succeed, it does take a toll on your confidence. I am not denying that. I have been in that place before. I won't forget when my first business failed. You know where I found myself? On the beach with a bottle. I'm telling you. I was like, this has to be the worst day of my life. Okay. all the bottle, y'all. It wasn't any like big set of alcohol. I think I bought what was it? A Strongbow. You guys know that drink? I bought a Strongbow, parked my vehicle on the beach in St. Lucia, and I sat in front of the vehicle just contemplating how bad life was, how much of a failure I was not to be able to make a business work. Yeah. So I've been there. But did I stay there? No. Because a failure, if I have my self identity right, and I understand that my failures or my wins are not the truest example or testimony of who I am is set. Everything else is extra. Who I am is nothing missing, nothing broken. That's what my creator said. Everything else is extra. Okay. Nothing is supposed to impinge on that identity. And because I understood that, I didn't stay there for very, very long, maybe about a year or two or three. But the fact is, I didn't let a failure define me, the essence of me, Lisa, like me at the very core. It was something that could not be changed, that could be changed in terms of failure, could be changed. So when you fail in business, let's say you fail in relationships, like no relationship is working out. And I was, oh God, I've been in some situations, Lord. I was also there. No relationship was working out. And fast forward, God, thank God, this is 2024, and I've now been married for 20 years. So what changed? Well, apart from the fact that I met the right person, I think too, there was just that understanding that failing at relationships, always attracting the wrong guy. And even in that process of recognizing I was the common denominator in attracting the wrong guys all the time, then I had to realize it could be changed. And when it changed, it wasn't because I had to deny myself, because the identity of I'm whole. I'm whole. It's just that I needed to change certain things about how I saw life and who I thought I was. My self-esteem needed to go up. I needed to see myself as attracting a certain kind of person as opposed to somebody else. All of these things, I began to do that work. And that was all the way back in university. Began to do that work, because if I was the common denominator in attracting all of these bad relationships, maybe when I change certain things about myself, I could become the right denominator, the common denominator in attracting the right kinds of people around me. And that's what happened. It didn't mean that I denigrated myself, I berated myself, I said that I was nothing, because that kind of thinking makes you become nothing, makes you become even less than you already are, and accept less than you already accept. So you have to go the opposite direction. When I have disappointment, when I have failure, I've got to separate my essence of being nothing missing and nothing broken. I have to separate that from the failure. The failure is outside of me. Whether I fail or whether I win, I am still that person who's a person of value. That's absolutely important to do. Yeah, I'm on fire this morning because you know what? This lady died recently. She died this week, Nikki Giovanni. And to tell you the truth, you guys, one of the areas really been thinking about, is it's Black women and how we look at ourselves, right? I said I would not say anything too much about it, but I am struggling with it, okay? I don't have answers for how we look at ourselves. I don't have answers for I don't have answers for the state of beauty and fashion right now. And I'm like, all throughout the 60s, the 70s, throughout the civil rights movement and beyond, we had agitators for Black beauty and standing up for who you are and loving yourself. And here we are today in a society where you've got to glue on a hairline that is not yours, as if something's wrong with your own. And I expose my own biases when I speak about that, because one, I haven't totally thought it out. And I'm like, Lord, help me here. My biases are, to have my hair and to love my own self. But that too is suspect and perhaps in a sense hypocritical, because I still put products in my hair. And there's still, I talk about my hairline. I don't want anything to kind of take away from my essence, but yeah, but my hairline shaved. So how then do I show up and critique another Black woman who perhaps is wearing a wig and all of the things, because it's just easier for her as it is for me to keep my hair short? So I'm exposing my own biases up front. But here's the question that I think can be a deciding factor in me going forward and speaking about this. I mean, even writing poetry about it is, without the paraphernalia, without any products in my hair, without, if I'm just natural, if I put on a wig and take it out, do I feel different? Do I feel as worthy? Do I feel that my very essence is exposed and that is okay? Or do I need all of these attending pieces and additions to just even make me feel equal? And if that is the case, then we have a problem. Then we have a problem. I want to leave that right there because it really is an unprocessed thought at this point. But suffice it to say, you've got to bet on yourself. Your sense of confidence has to come from you making the decision, however you look, however you feel, whoever you are, to choose yourself as the standard. To say, you know what? To be anybody else is to be a living suicide. It means I'm going to be denigrating and denying myself and killing off who I am in the pursuit of somebody else. Have you guys ever heard the saying that, might as well be yourself because everybody else is taken? That you can only be the best version of you. If you try to be a version of somebody else, you are going to end up being what they call a pastiche. A pastiche is a fake. A pastiche is a knockoff. Okay? You don't want that. Spend time with you. Spend time loving on you, savoring who you are. You cannot be disgusted with yourself no matter what you do, no matter who you are. You have to choose yourself first. And in doing that, it means I take a good look at myself, good and bad. And I'll be like, all of that is in the mix. It's okay. At a very foundational level, I accept me. I'm going to work on what I need to work on. And I sure I'm going to celebrate what needs to be celebrated. I choose me. I am the standard. This nose is the standard. These eyes are the standard. This hair is the standard. Let's go. And you know what happens? Two things can happen when you do that. There will always be people who will be like, who do you think you are? And the entire lives and the entire ignoring of you is for you to come to their side in their opinion of you. And so the more you pursue loving you and showing up in love with yourself, now, yes, you do all the things for beauty and so on, but there's a fundamental joy. And this is my body, my face, my hair, my soul. This is me. The more you show up and the more these people come up against, oh, here she is again, another video, like, what is wrong with this? They're going to either fall off because they cannot accept that you accept yourself, or they're going to just get on the program. Because the more you love yourself and show up in love is the more you're saying to the world, love me or get out. I'm not changing to go to your point of view about myself. That is suicide. To agree with somebody else's opinion of you against yourself. Think about it. We do it all the time. All the time. We go to people who don't love us, people who don't appreciate us. We agree with their standards that go against who we are. You cannot afford to do it. Make it a goal in 2025 to be the person who loves himself or herself. I hope that's your goal. You guys, like in 2025, and let me just show you very quickly. I will be having from January, we're starting. Look at this. It's called the Winner's Circle. You know, I find that looks a little girly. Don't y'all find? Like it looks like, oh my goodness, I need to kind of change that. Okay. But the Winner's Circle would be a group I'm putting together where we are going to work on ourselves on a monthly basis. One goal for the month. In January, if you want to get in, it's absolutely free. You can come in for the 30 days and experience what it's like. I'm going to drop the link in the chat and maybe go in afterwards and put it. But you can go to my website and you can literally sign up there. Let me just put the site here, www.lisamdublin.com /winner circle. If you go there, you can sign up right away for the winner's circle. And what we are going to be doing is there will be accountability, motivation, videos, leaderboards to get us in tune and motivated to do the thing that is the topic for the month. We are looking at fitness, on building an exercise routine in January. So you want to be in that circle, okay? You want to be there in the winner's circle. We meet every Sunday for 1 hour only for group coaching, and then you go off during the week. You do your thing. So I'm going to show you how to tie your values to become and to get the habits that don't come naturally to you. I'll show you how to tie them to the values that mean something to you, not me. I've got mindset. I know why I work out. So we're going to look at strategies for measuring, evaluating. You're going to get moving. If you are a couch potato, you need to get in the winner's circle. If you are that person who's looking for motivation to be in a community of people who are doing great things, also get into the winner's circle. And that way, then you'll be able to access the live coaching on a Sunday and get ready for the week. 4 weeks in January. 4 weeks. Can you imagine if you hit your goals of working out 3 days a week? At least half an hour each time to kind of get your body jump started and get that motivation going. It is possible. I've done it with private clients before, and I'm starting this group coaching program to help people to move and to accomplish their goals. February, we are looking at relationships. We're looking at, yes, romantic relationships, solving for problems there. And we're also looking at just emotional intelligence in other relationships, friendships, work relationships, that kind of thing. You want to be in that circle because here's what I realized from being coached since 2019 up till now. I recognize people fall off because there's no regular accountability. I know for me, like when I began even my weight loss journey, meeting with my coach every single week kept me motivated. It kept me consistent. It kept me focused. And that's what I want to do in the winner's circle. So I hope you can go on there and join. I posted it, lisamdublin.com /winners circle. You can go sign up there right now. We begin in first week in January. We begin to start to crush, and the focus for January is fitness. Hey, so if you're not even thinking of continuing, at least come in for January and see what it's like. That's what I would do if I were you. All right, everybody, I'm over time by 3 minutes. Oh my goodness. Got to go now, and join me tomorrow as we continue to speak about confidence. Where does it come from? And lastly, how to cultivate more confidence in your life. Please let me know if this was helpful. Send me a DM, send me an email. It would be nice to know that this really did impact you this morning. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. MST, right here on Basement Chronicles Live. Bye, everybody. Take care.